Hey everyone, I'm Swanton007 here to do another DVD review this time. We've got The Rock's new DVD, The Epic Journey of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. This is just an intro. I'll be watching it and then reviewing it at the same time, so talk to you guys soon. So I've just watched the first disc, the documentary. Now it was a good documentary. It flowed very well. The documentary itself, the only place that it really disappointed me in is that it didn't really go into his private life at the time, which we've seen with a lot of DVDs currently. It was pretty much just about his in-ring stuff, and that was about it. But they did everything fairly well. They rationed all the time out fairly well, and everything was done very time efficiently. They spoke about everything. They didn't really talk about the rivalries though. They mainly, from what I remember, they mainly focused on the Stone Cold, Triple H, and Mick Foley rivalries. They didn't go in depth with anything else, which disappointed me because I very much wanted to hear about the Chris Jericho rivalries and Brock Lesnar and what he actually thought of the people instead of just about the rivalries at the time. They went into his movie career, and he was just saying why he left the company, and just trying to clarify it to the people that he didn't leave because he didn't want to wrestle. He wanted to leave because he wanted to do other things. But just the usual thing from The Rock, exactly what we're hearing from at the moment. The documentary only ran for about 2 hours, which we know that the DVDs can hold 3 hours, which is really disappointing. It sort of brought the DVD's rating down for me, and the documentary. The documentary I'm going to give like a 4.25 stars because of the problems I've had. It was a very good documentary and it did flow well, but it was missing a few things for me personally. Overall, I have to give the disc like a 8.5 then, but as I've given the documentary. Actually, I'll give it a 7.5 because it missed the other hour of stuff, and that really always dampens my mood towards these DVDs. So yeah.
So we've got Disc 2 now, the first match of Disc 2, which Disc 2 is pretty much just a match disc. The first match is a Survivor Series elimination match between Rocky Maivia, Marc, Mero, Barry Windham, and Jake the Snake Roberts versus Hunter Hearst, Helmsley, Goldust, Crush, and Jerry the King Lawler. Now this is really nothing special. It's a half an hour worth of just absolute terrible wrestling. The only reason why it was on the DVD is because it was Rocky's debut. I think it was overall, not just on pay-per-view. So good to see that. But that was really the only good thing about the match. Rocky ended up winning, getting the win over two people, and the broadcasting team of Sonny and Jim Ross and Vince McMahon were really putting Rocky over. But he was really only in the match for I reckon a total of maybe 5 minutes. And you could tell how green he was. He was way overselling moves and things like that. But it's essential to the disc to have his debut on it, and it was good. It was not worth a half an hour to watch, but 2 stars in the end. Very slow paced stuff there. Rocky Maivia ended up going over Crush and Goldust as the last 2. This is at Survivor Series 1996. The next match is an Intercontinental Championship match between The Rock and Triple H. It's a ladder match, and in the documentary they really focus on this, saying that this ladder match was really the first time that a ladder match was good without having to rely on high spots. And it was true. This was a great match. It's a 4.5 star match. In my opinion, it was The Rock's second best match of his career, which could change at WrestleMania 28, but we will work that out when it happens. But apart from that, the Triple H came out on top. But this was an amazing match. I love it to bits. they both had great showings and did really good in the ring. There was Mark Henry from the Nation of Domination helping out The Rock, trying to take out China, but China gets the upper hand, helping Triple H. The Rock uses some dust in Triple H's face, and it's a really good match overall, and it's really worth a watch. And yeah, I've given it 4.5 stars, so yeah. Okay, so the next match is a triple threat cage match between The Rock, Ken Shamrock, and Mankind. Now, it was a good match, really solid. They kept, they really made all three of these guys look good, apart from really Shamrock, which I think was believed because they didn't really, this was a pet peeve of mine, is that they didn't really have Shamrock and The Rock, who were the heels, teaming up against each other against Mankind. They had The Rock and Mankind teaming up Shamrock, and Shamrock and Mankind teaming up against The Rock, which I thought was just silly because it confuses everybody, and it means there's not that good of psychology happening in the ring, and that really detracted me from the first half of the match. But after that, it really picked up, and there's some big spots. Mankind tried to go for the big elbow off the top of the steel cage, but missed, and The Rock got the pin just as Mankind was about to hit the ground. So good end, 3 3/4 stars. It was a good match. It's kept you entertained you the whole way through, and triple threat matches are one of my favourite type of matches if you've seen any of my other reviews. So I don't think it's very biased, but the heel and the face teaming to get the heel was just silly in my understanding. The next match was an I Quit match for the WWF Championship, as it was called at the time. It was between The Rock and Mankind at the Royal Rumble. Everybody should know this match. It is an absolutely brutal match. The spots in it were really just Mankind coming off the guardrail and falling into a bunch of electrical stuff, turning off lots of the lights in the arena, and then the other part was when The Rock handcuffed Mankind and just went ape on his head with a chair. It was just crazy. I think there was a count once, 16 headshots with a chair. Mankind had to have had a concussion after that. It was just crazy, and Mick Foley's kids were there that night, and they went off crying. It was just brutal, apparently. And the match was brutal. It was just, which I think sort of detracted from the match itself. 4 stars. It could have been pushed for a 4.25, but 4 stars seemed to go. Still, it's a historical match. They go over it in the documentary. It's really the match where The Rock is seen as a more brutal, and he can actually hurt somebody rather than just hit a rock bottom, which really needs to be done more for champions these days, like The Miz. The Miz really needs something like a match like this. Yeah. Okay, so the final match of the disc was a WWF Championship match. No holds barred between The Rock and Stone Cold. Just the usual sort of stuff here, Rock and Stone Cold going at it. I've given it a 3 3/4 stars. It didn't quite pull the 4 stars because I don't quite know. I sort of just felt like it only deserved a 3 3/4. I probably was a bit hard on it, but that's how I felt. They brawled pretty much all around the arena. That was the Attitude Era kind of style at the time. They went all around the arena, brawling into steel mesh and stuff like that. Fairly entertaining stuff. See, I'm looking at Dave Meltz. He's given it a 4 1/4 here. But yeah, it was good stuff going all around the arena. Ends up with Vince knocking out Shane, who's the special ref, and bringing in Earl Hebner to call the match cleanly. So Stone Cold won. So overall, Disc 2, I'm going to give an 8.5 out of 10, mainly because there was only 2.5 hours worth of matches on this disc. They could have very easily fitted one more match, and they weren't really that significant in The Rock's career, but I'll talk about that when I talk about the whole review for the rest of the disc. Okay, so we're beginning disc 3, and it started off with a triple threat match for the WWF title at SummerSlam 2000 between Kurt Angle, Triple H, and The Rock. This is the famous match where Kurt gets taken out in like the first 5 seconds or something, or like the first minute. The announce table breaks before Triple H can safely hit the pedigree, and it knocks Kurt out. So pretty much The Rock and Triple H had to wrestle out the rest of the match by themselves without all the planned stuff that happened. And they did a fairly good job. I thought the match flowed well, and they still injected Kurt Angle in there, trying to get him working in there, just keeping storylines going and stuff like that. The Rock did come out with a win after lots of backhanded stuff, even though it was a no DQ match, but yeah, 3 3/4 stars. Okay, so the next match was a World Tag Team Championship match between The Rock and The Undertaker versus Edge and Christian. This was just a match, I don't know what it was for. It was just a match whacked onto the disc because they don't think they could find much else to put on there. It was when The Rock won his first Tag Team Championship, I believe. The Rock came out and won with a rock bottom after, I think they were getting dominated, I'm not sure, but The Rock came out, hit a rock bottom, won the championships for The Undertaker and himself. 2.5 stars. So The Rock versus Ric Flair is next, and this was actually a fairly entertaining match. I very much enjoyed watching The Rock and Ric Flair go at it, a real battle of the ages. The charismatic two of their generation, and they really showed off a good match. 3.25 stars. The Rock gets the win with a rock bottom.
The next match was the undisputed WWE Championship match between The Rock and Brock Lesnar. Now, I've watched this before. I gave it a 3.5. I watched it again, and this is like my perfect ending for a match, and my perfect type of match. It's just constant, fast-paced action. The ending is like rock bottom. Brock Lesnar gets out of it, clothesline. Someone ducks under it. Brock goes for the F5. Rock counters it and stands up, and then rock bottom, and then Brock gets out, and then an F5. And it's just perfect to my type of thing. It's four stars. The crowd were on its seats. It was really good, fast-paced action, really explosive stuff. My type of match, 4 stars. Yeah. So the final match of the DVD is The Rock versus Hulk Hogan 2 at, what is it at? It's at, No Way Out. This match is really nothing that special, just The Rock being a heel, getting over as a heel going into WrestleMania 19. I believe it's for his first match back from filming a TV show or something. Apart from that, nothing else. The Rock won with a bit of help from Vince, who knows. Overall, I give the match 2 stars, nothing special. Move on. The last hour of the third disc was just 4 promos, very entertaining stuff. Just roll them through now. And disc 3 I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Overall, the DVD was fairly good, but it really couldn't be, the matches really couldn't be, like, The Rock's best matches and most historical matches, because most of them were on his previous DVD, The Most Electrifying Man is All Entertainment or Sports Entertainment, and that's where this DVD really comes down. But they still find some really good matches to put on there, even though The Rock doesn't win most of them. They've got some really good stuff there. They add an hour of promos in. They really could have, the only thing that they really could have done to this DVD is really added that extra hour or even a half an hour onto that first disc. But apart from this when you see the matches, it would have never gone over 9 stars. I felt I've given it 8 out of 10. One of the better DVDs of the year so far. There's only been like 3, but whatever. So far, it didn't beat Stone Cold. Stone Cold was a point better. So guys, I'm a Swanton 007. Comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.